Before you and I part company tonight, a Prime playback, or perhaps more accurately, an America Talks Live Hour 2 playback. That program premiered this afternoon at 1 o'clock Eastern. I was pleased to be in the anchor chair, and I was joined by Judy Kurtz, the author of the column In the Know, which appears in the publication The Hill. We began our conversation by talking about Goldman Sachs and its edict banning employees from donating to Donald Trump, but not to Hillary Clinton. Take a look.
Yeah, it doesn't quite pass the sniff test, right? But apparently it's a bit convoluted. But the idea with the Goldman Sachs partners, these are their high-level employees, they're now not allowed to donate to any campaign, any federal official campaign that has a sitting public official at its helm. So that would include Donald Trump's campaign, of course, because of Mike Pence being the governor of Indiana.
So they're using the Mike Pence rule. Come on, what's the real? You got the dish. Tell us what's really going on.
Goldman Sachs is claiming that this is purely coincidental. You know, many people in Washington say there are no such things as coincidences here in D.C., but they're saying it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, let's go to something else involving the campaign, and that would be the campaign of Mrs. Clinton. Whomever is donating to her, we understand that former staffers for both former President Clinton and former Secretary Clinton are kind of elbowing each other to see who might win the plum assignment as Secretary of State. Is there a front runner? Should, in my view, the awful happen, and Hillary is sworn in next January?
Well, you know, jockeying for different jobs in any administration is the name of the game here in Washington. That's always going on with any campaign, any candidate that's happening. And it's happening with, of course, the Clinton camp and the Trump camp. Both of these campaigns are remaining very tight-lipped about who they might be considering, understandably, but more so because they don't want it to appear like they're measuring the drapes in the Oval Office before winning the election.
But wait a minute. Now, a publication in D.C., just about 3 weeks ago? I guess it was the Post had that headline with the numbers looking so good, Mrs. Clinton moves to the task of governing. So, come on, you got the dish. You're in the know, Judy. Who do you think would emerge as Mrs. Clinton's top diplomat at the State Department? Can you clear up anything as to her pick there at Foggy Bottom?
Well, I think we can expect, as many people widely believe, that she's going to use many people from the State Department from her days there, and maybe even from her husband's administration, some recycled folks from there. You know, Donald Trump is really the unknown factor here, since he doesn't have much political background, and we really don't know, in his case, who he might name if he wins the White House.
Oh, so he would be the real wild card. So in terms of excitement, instead of a make good, because I think of, who was the guy that went to kindergarten with Bill Clinton, great guy, Mac McClarty, who did some work in the White House. Would they ever do a make good? Somebody who left early, they bring back. I perish the thought. Look, let me get to something else, and that is the Secret Service. Because if you're the gossip columnist for The Hill, if you're in the know, you got to know secrets on the Secret Service. Our old buddy, who has written a book about the Secret Service, author Ron Kessler, told us if agents, quote, misbehaved or got in trouble, Mrs. Clinton, by Mrs. Clinton's standards, they were punished by being put on her detail. Now, having heard that, we also understand, just as Dick Nixon had his enemies list, Hillary has a blacklist of people she doesn't want working with her. True? And if so, come on, you're in the know. Who's on the list, Judy?
Well, of course, that information is redacted. That was part of the drip of these emails that keep getting released from her days at the State Department. So we don't know who was on that list. You know, it's really politics 101. Any campaign is going to have a list of folks that they want to hire and that they don't want to hire. That's not unique to Hillary Clinton's time at the State Department. But the surprising thing here is that they actually put it in an email. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, well, apparently I guess that's one they didn't use the bleach pit for or whatever. Something else we don't want to bleach. We want you to give us crystal clarity And this is what I really wanted to get to, Judy. The other stuff just warming up. Tomorrow, as I understand it, is the big day, the publication of the Hill's 50 most beautiful people in Washington. Now again...
That is right.
Again, since you are in the know, Judy Kurtz, come on, give us a little dish. Name a name, give us a hint. Let us know something about the Hill's 50 most beautiful. Come on.
You know, I may be a gossip columnist, but in this case, my lips are absolutely 100% sealed. I cannot give any details. I can tell you every year we have a mix of staffers, of lawmakers, of media figures, of D.C. Gurus on the list, so expect some of that. Last year, President Obama and Michelle Obama were both on the list.
Oh, well, that gives me, this prompts a question then, Judy. Can the statuesque wife of a certain billionaire, even though she doesn't currently have a residence in Washington, might she be included on the list? Just thinking hypothetically, just between us.
Just hypothetically, you have to be based in D.C. to make the list. But there's always next year. We could always change the rules.
Yeah, there was one right you could wrong, because I spent a dozen years there on the Hill as a member of Congress, and somehow a stunning omission. I was never included. It's tough.
You know, I've been at the Hill 5 years, so my hands are clean in this one. I was not involved in the list.
Okay, all right, let me just ask you this. Before we let you go, anybody who surprises you, will we be surprised tomorrow?
You will absolutely. There are always some surprises on each list. It's always a big talker here in D.C. And, you know, politics can be a very ugly business. Why not have a little beauty, a little fun with our 50 most beautiful list?
And maybe if you decide to get, you look beyond Washington, folks who are there, my wife, Miss Mary, can be the beauty, I can be the beast. Judy Kurtz, thank you so much today from Newsmax Washington for your time. We'll look for that edition of The Hill and continue to read your column in the know. Thanks so much.